session of the day. Our first speaker for this session is Robert Pearce. Robert is the Director of Library and Information Services at Nelson Mandela Metropolitan University. He's also a dramatist, avid musician. He writes books, articles, and poetry. So we're not going to fall asleep. Robert will share with us his library experiences on the journey to open access. Robert?
Thank you very much, Vivian. Vivian and Shoni and Irene is my vendor connections. I've been around the world a few times. Yeah, colleagues, you see what I do with the microphone? I use it as a speaker and as a singer. So if you're okay with me, I'll sing you a song later on. But then you'll have to pay me. Okay, after listening to all the speakers this morning and even yesterday, everything was said, so all I can say is I concur. And then you go home, yeah. But on a more serious note, what's happening is that this is basically Open Access 101, you know, for all you converted, but let me get to whatever I'm going to talk about. Thanks for SANLIC, for the conference organizers for affording me this opportunity. This paper will cover open access and what it entails and OER a bit. Our contribution to open access, the NRF Statement, Jeffrey Beal's contribution to identify predatory journals, signing of the Berlin Declaration, writing an open access policy. I'm going to cut out the part on starting an institutional repository because you are all there already. Also, my interest in this is that I am the sponsor of the Nelson Mandela Metropolitan University in PE, the sponsor for the team on open access, and was responsible with the team under the leadership of Norma Bell, and I acknowledge here today also ASSAf, Deirdre and Pumela from my university, to organize a fruitful one-day seminar on open access in 2015. And I'm also responsible for writing the policy and the driver to ensure that our university signs the Berlin Declaration. My first encounter with open access was in 2012 at Vaal University of Technology. So I am a Johnny-come-lately. This was when Budapest 2001 on open access happened, and Berlin 2003 transpired. So you can see really Johnny-come-lately. Thanks to, and now it's name-dropping time, Susan Felsman and VUT librarians for the 2012 conference that really opened my eyes. Daily Salamatsela and Lazarus for the NRF workshops, NRF statements on open access and predatory journals. Ina Smith, who was one of our speakers at NMMU in 2015. Ingrid Thompson of UCT Libraries in Hellig was always keeping me up to date. Reggie Raj of UCT, where's Reggie? Yeah, one of our presenters also in 2015. Our CHELSA members were applicable for sharing open access policies, even in draft form. Here I must mention University of Zululand, UCT University Libraries, DUT, University of Pretoria, and Rhodes University's library for the benchmarking. Then the NMMU LIS staff. Then we've got a young librarian here, Jeremiah Peterson. Thanks for an excellent master's degree that I use as a Bible. Thanks, Jeremiah. Wow. We were checking when he was still doing it on 21st century libraries as a youngster, and until he completed and he passed cum laude. The Max Planck Institute, Germany, for the Berlin Declaration and accompanying policy documents on open access. And to those of you that I did not mention, you are not worth mentioning. No, thanks. You knew it was coming. Now, built from genuine stolen part. Years ago in Gauteng, I saw this sticker on a car once. This car was built from genuine stolen parts. The same for this presentation. Ina, Susan, Daisy, Reggie, and others, if you recognize anything here, please do not turn me in to turn it in, because I did not transgress your copyright. I only applied open access principles. So to all of you, apply open access principles and use my slides freely. Thanks to all of you for being responsible. For my passion, I'm standing on the shoulders of giants. This paper is not for the converted, not for the 21st century LIS experts. Also, apologies for concentrating only on university libraries. I know there are people here from the research councils, maybe from public libraries, special libraries. Then, if you have an open access policy and an institutional or digital repository, then you will be bored. So what I'm telling you is do your emails, get onto WhatsApp, sleep, you know. But remember, the digital divide. There are some libraries, especially public libraries, who does not have a clue about open access policies, institutional repository, or the NRF statements. Last year in the ASSAf, Mpumalanga requested and invited me to talk about open access and assist them with ideas on digital repositories and open access policies. For some of those librarians, it was the first time in 2016 that they heard about open access. When we questioned them on the NRF, now they know about Sabinet, and they were like I was in 2012. Now imagine I've been a university librarian for 30 years and I only discovered OA in 2012. I hope you will be honest and tell me when you discovered it, okay? 2001, were you in Budapest? 2003, were you in Berlin? No. Okay. Right, so the converted, please bear with me, because if I think about our public librarians, and Reggie alluded to that we should not run too far ahead, you know, and leave our rural and deep rural colleagues and developing colleagues behind. Can you imagine that in this day and age, that in Mpumalanga, the libraries are not yet digitized and they still use card systems? Major public libraries in major cities, colleagues. I spoke with the provincial librarians and public librarians, and I visited their libraries and I was shocked. Where I come from, I was a public librarian years ago, and 30 years ago in Pretoria, we computerized. Our issuing system was computerized. And now 30 years later, you visit prominent public libraries in major cities in Mpumalanga and you still get a card. So bear with me because I presented this also to them. Where am I coming from? Port Elizabeth, the friendly city, the windy city, the naughty baby, wet and windy. Now some pictures. If you can spot me at my home near the ocean, just tell me, Robert, there you are. This is my drive to work every day. So envy me, that's the Boardwalk Casino. That is our mascot, the Madiba, and we call the Madibas. And I know, you know, you other universities beat us at cricket and soccer and rugby, but don't worry, it's fine. We bear the name Nelson Mandela. And as I said to someone at lunch or tea, whatever, this name, please give us something special, you know. I need a Ferrari. Right, that's our South Campus Library, our North Campus, our Missionville Campus, our flagship, our library in George, our 2nd Avenue Library, and our Business School Library. Inside, this is what we look like. We are there, we are 21st century, so don't preach to me about 21st century, we are converted. Am I saying too much? Okay. Very important, what is open access? It was defined so many times. Why I'm having it fully defined is if you take these slides away and plagiarize it, then you have the whole information there. So I don't have to say that it should be free immediately and whatever. If you look, we look later at the Budapest Declaration and the Berlin Declaration. All of this was taken from an author. I'm not going to read this, but Suba, in the literature, that is the person that everyone goes back to and says, this is the first person that really tried to define online. That open access removes price barriers, that's subscriptions and licensing fees, and pay-per-view fees, and permission barriers, mostly copyright and licensing restrictions. Open access movements, we've heard about them, we know about them, and we are part of the movements. Okay, I'm not going to read that, you can read it in your own time. Now, Budapest Declaration on open access. The only song I know goes like this. I come from Budapest, and you go to Budapest, I do be done. I do be done. I don't know a Berlin song. I know a song about Vietnam. Don't know a Durban song even. Is there a Durban song?
Yes, we have
Panicham. Is it Panicham? Berlin Declaration 2203 will be addressed much more in later detail. Our main drivers, and here I'm starting with my bill from Genuine Stolen Parts, the new technologies, the net and applications. Economic imperatives, that's the input-output distortions of scholarly publishing businesses. And it worsened for us by the exchange rate and also all of the taxes that we have to pay in South Africa. Research motivation, the ceaseless quest for recognition and or impact. Then basic assumptions, that this is giveaway literature. That's one of the worst basic assumptions. Then in 2014, an article entitled Open Access, and this article is in my bibliography if you want to read the whole article. Open Access in South Africa, case study and reflections, and UCT libraries we used as prototype. The authors observed the following on open access. Many South African researchers are unfortunately encountering open access for the first time in negative terms. They also encounter it through expensive article processing charges. They're also encountering it through the discourse of regulatory compliance, which is the opposite of academic freedom, and academic rigor, which all scholars should hold dear. Now they conclude by saying that it is therefore not surprising that researchers' responses range from downright negative to extremely skeptical, and they and others have a lack of understanding regarding either the value proposition of open access or the practical effects of open access. My NMMU experience when I started marketing this, one academic said, supporting open access is like giving away my birthright. Open scholarship we've touched on this morning and we've heard about it, so I'm not going to define it for you again. New trends in education, blended learning, very important people. E-learning, the anywhere, anytime learning. The reason why I'm touching on this is because you have to choose and use a platform for your open access. We at NMMU, we use Moodle. Other people use Blackboard. Other people have got other platforms that they use. So e-learning, the anywhere, anytime learning, and I'll also allude to our open access and our new 21st century generation Y and X and iGens. These are the people that will challenge you on your e-learning platforms and why you don't have an app that's suitable for OA. Okay, more about books, just some downloads of books on mobile learning. If you need them, you can use them. Okay, library services delivery via open access. I'm preaching to the converted, and as I said just now, you have to use a content management system, and your platform should be correct. Again, I'm going faster now. Using mobile technologies, this is nowadays the buzzwords. Every era has got their buzzwords. Like the Industrial Revolution had buzzwords. Today, it's just mobile, mobile, mobile. Just the other day, we had a meeting with students. They asked, where's your library app? Deirdre? We could show them where the library app was because they were not aware. It's right there, accessible via QR codes on the university's website. Why use mobile technologies? Griffey in 2010 said if libraries want to hold on to their role as information professionals, they need to be able to reach out to users in their preferred method of communication. Remember the 5 laws of the Indian librarian Ranganathan? We always say the right book at the right time to the right person, shortest time, format, whatever. So now you change it, the right app to the right what, to the right what, and the right, right? That's it. Using mobile technologies, smartphones, e-book readers, going quickly because you are the converted, all in your hands, it's right there. Our generation, this is your open access users, as I said, your Z and your I gens, and that is why they call you Generation Y. You have to ponder on that one. That is your Generation Y. And then this fascinates me, your 21st century user and technological changes. Will we be ready for him? You tell me, with our card catalogs, will we be ready? Look at the interest in that little child's face, working on that laptop. Colleagues, I can tell you when I was that age, I was running around naked but playing in the sand. And the father of the iGen, Steve Jobs. What I remember from Steve Jobs, you can read his whole book of 360 pages. One thing stands out to me. Steve Jobs said, we must give the customer, the clients, or the users something that they do not know they need yet. That's a lot. Give them what they don't know they need yet. So, what are we doing as librarians? Our social media, our iGens are connected people. They are born multitaskers. They are vast consumers of media. They want to create their own world. They don't want to draw a line between work and personal life. They work smarter, not harder. They don't like procedures. They don't need to be engaged in creative technology. They need to be, if a newer iGen or whatever comes to a library, don't give them a rule book. Give them the right information, right time, right app, and get done with it, okay? Yeah, the 24/7 library, the library at the palm of your hands. Our VC likes to talk about the library on a mobile device. Yeah, mobile library websites, you've known about that, and that's our entry into mobile. Using Wi-Fi, fine. Now the NRF statement on open access, colleagues, Daisy and Lazarus alluded to this, but you must be aware that there is a statement governing, open access publications, and also how you download that onto your own institutional repository. Very important. They do support scientific research, and remember that the publications that they pay for must be, and as Lazarus said and Daisy said, please colleagues adhere to that. I'm asking you a question later on around this. Okay, that's part of the statements. Then the frequently asked questions. If you go onto the website of the NRF, those of you who like to play around, just go to the frequently asked questions and ask, but didn't I ask this dumb question when the answer's already there? Right, then For example, the NRF statement indicates that research data needs to be deposited in an accredited repository and that the repository should make provision for whatever, and so we go on. Now, Daisy alluded to the NRF statement on predatory journals, and very important that you download this and put it up front and give it to all your researchers and all your academics. Let them know about this. Your research office must know, people. And normally the research office don't come to the party on open access. They normally give it to the librarians. Right, then Jeffrey Beale was my international contact and keeping me alert, like with daily alerts on predatory journals. He was the watchdog. If you want to correspond with Jeffrey, I've got his contact details. But then what happened was he was silenced by his university. He should not compile the predatory journal list again and not send it out to anyone ever again. Now, what kind of censorship is that? And then there was an article, Beale's blog stopped, not the Beale all and the end all. You can go and read that, colleagues. It's really shocking that now we don't have a watchdog out there. I don't know if you're going to play that role, but we used to forward what Jeffrey forwarded to us, to our researchers and academics, and to our other users. So they would be aware not to publish. Daisy quoted, people publishing in predatory journals. But now we are like in limbo. I can tell you that if you know of anyone who's doing this kind of job that Jeffrey Beale did, please inform all of us so that we know. If you're one of them, it's fine. Okay, signing the Berlin Declaration. Very important that some universities in South Africa already signed the Berlin Declaration. And last year I did a search, and if I don't mention you, it doesn't mean that you did not sign it in the meantime. I did a search and I found that ASSAf did it, University of Stellenbosch, Rhodes University, University of Cape Town, University of South Africa, University of Pretoria, University of Johannesburg, Northwest University, Potch, Tshwane University of Technology, Durban University of Technology, University of Western Cape, University of Wits, University of KwaZulu-Natal, University of the Free State. If you want a complete list, you can go and look at the website, visit the Berlin Declaration website, and just see what's happening there. Now, ASSAf signed, Naomi signed in 2011. Then we were confronted that saying that because ASSAf signed, we did not need to sign. Now I said, no, it's different. ASSAf signed and will give access, open access, to two things for me. The one is the ASSAf journal, scientific journal, and ASSAf in touch. If I'm wrong, please correct me, and also access to the website and whatever is published on the website. But some people confronted and said, no, because ASSAf did it for all librarians. It can't be. You have to get into your own policy. Okay, that is what does it mean. Now the Berlin Declaration, I just cut and pasted as it is. You know about it, and you can go and read what you must do to comply with it. Ralph, if there are any updates, can you send it to me or to us so that we are aware? Okay, I already sang about Budapest. The goals are there, not going to read it to you. Because of time, colleagues, I was warned that we must go very fast this afternoon because I heard this cocktail also. So you can read it in your own time, and if you work on your policy, then you just adhere to what is asked here. Right, there's even signing instructions for you that you have to follow. And then we responded by having an open access seminar in 2015 to create awareness. And then our university has got an open access goal. It says an open scholarship to support and facilitate open scholarship in the university as an appropriate vehicle for enhancing the university's research output and visibility. And then we from the library said the electronic thesis and dissertation on the NMMU server was successfully imported into Vital. NMMU must now just apply for a handle subscription, and then the database can be opened up for the rest of the world via open access directories and repositories. I'm going to talk later about the embargoes. You know, when you write a policy, there are patents and embargoes that you must be aware of. Facilitating open access trial databases. Let me just warn you. Every day we get bombarded, all of us, our e-resources, ERM librarians, our catalogers, classifiers, our technical librarians, with trial databases. If you are not serious about subscribing, don't whet your appetite. And if you don't have the budget, don't whet your researchers and your academics' appetite. We had a 5 million deficit because we had a librarian who left us now, who would just go into these trials and just sign up. Without me signing off, without the legal office signing off. So in the end, the academics and the researchers were thrilled. When we reviewed our budget, we said, no, this is not on. So we had to get out of a 5 million deficit. Yeah, she shows me 5 minutes. Okay. From NMMU, as I said, we're using Moodle. Open access databases, it's still small. We only have 70. I saw people having hundreds of thousands. Our open access e-resources, 68 till date. You must get buy-in, colleagues. University authorities need to understand open access and to assist with policy writing and review. The responsibility of the open access policy lies with the Department of Institutional Report and the Office of the DVC Research, and not the library. But librarians always end up writing the policy. I don't know why. Like in our case. Then the research office at NMMU. We have 2 research offices. The one is the research office that deals with NRF ratings, payment of subsidies, compiling of list of publications for that year. And then we've got the research capacity development office that actually gives bursaries for masters and doctoral students and arrange work for patents. Now, there are restrictions there, when they work with the outside companies, that you cannot just put this out there, Embargoes. We had a problem when we put a thesis online. The examination office never told us that there's an embargo on that because it was sensitive information about HIV/AIDS. And the people, the person who actually who wrote it said, but I asked and I said it must be stated that this should not be available to everyone because people can recognize the people that I interviewed. And so we almost went to court. Fortunately, our lawyers, got us out of that. Then the DVC research and engagement. That is the person, either that DVC or DVC academic or your VC must sign, because librarians cannot sign these declarations because it encompasses the whole university body that's involved in this. Then your compilers are normally librarians. Then your Senate Library Committee must approve. Your Executive Committee of Senate must approve. Your University Council is the final approver. And after Council approval, then you can implement. Now, writing the open access policy, this is an example of our policy. And colleagues here, thanks again to Gwenda who shared their policy. As I said, other people in draft forms send it to us. And we have our stakeholders. We have our person who's going to sign. And then we go right through the policy, page by page. What you can do, you cut and paste, take out NMMU, and you put in TUT, and then you got a policy. Then NMMU signing, 1 minute, signing of the Berlin Declaration. There's a letter, people, that must accompany you. And I don't know if it's still Professor Martin Stratman, still the same person, President, Max Planck Society, Germany. And we say that we are a signatory, NMMU, and it's signed, if you look here, by our Deputy Vice Chancellor of Research and Engagement. As I said, I'm not going to touch on this. I'm actually done, Vivian. Yeah. That's our thesis and dissertations, how it looks. Online, our repository. Yeah, problems to ponder. This is an offline question for Daisy and for Lazarus. How to load NRF funded research articles on the university's open access platform. How to identify and locate these articles, because our research officers and academics and researchers, they must assist, but they tell us there's no logo saying NRF on the article. Maybe I'm talking under correction. And then who will compensate the research office? Normally, compensation comes from the NRF. And yeah, colleagues, I thank you very much. And I've been asked to assist at the gala dinner, then I'll sing some more for you. Thank you.